And we are back here at Mining Stock Daily with a corporate update from one of our main sponsors. That is Corvus Gold and the CEO of the company, Mr. Jeff Pontius. Corvus Gold trades on the TSX and the NASDAQ with the symbol KOR. Jeff, two big pieces of really big news out with you and the company today. PEAs on both your North Bullfrog and a separate PEA on the Motherlode project. This has been kind of a long time coming. We knew it was. We had been mentioning it, that the release would be imminent this fall. But, it's got to be a nice relief to getting these two big documents and estimates off your back here.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, they're very positive from our perspective, and they really cement and outline our strategy forward. North Bullfrog, killer project. It's got a great rate of return. It's, I think the IRR on this thing is 47%, and NPV after tax is 450 million. It's and free cash flow on this project is about 770 million. So this project is one definitely makes sense. We're going to take it forward. We're going to build it. It's a relatively simple mine configuration. So yeah, this came in as good as we had hoped for on this one. Motherlode project that we're still adding ounces to. It's got a much higher initial capital associated with it, because we're talking about a large mill facility. And really, I think it really punctuates the fact that even carrying that capital, the project performs well. Over 300 million on NPV after tax, cash flow in the neighborhood of 500-600 million. This project is great. It's going to do a lot better as we add ounces to it, and we're adding them from the CIZ zone. And our Linda Strip project to the north will eventually be incorporated into the Motherlode mine plan. And as we've seen in that part of the district, over about a 4-kilometer length area, we've got new discovery of Motherlode, we got a new discovery at Silicon, we got a new discovery from Kura at Seahorse, our Linda Strip, which is part of that Seahorse deposit. So there will undoubtedly be some consolidation in this area, and it will benefit from all of these projects using a central mill facility. So I think we, have put out the sort of template of what it's going to look like. We start adding big tons and big ounces into this, and it's going to be a real barn burner of a project out there on the east side of the district. So yeah, Motherlode came in great from our standpoint. And, overall, we're talking about NPV combined for the two projects of over 750 million. And if we look at it on a cash flow basis, we're about 1.3 billion. And hey, at 1900, that cash flow is almost 2.5 billion. Mm-hmm. And the NPV after tax number goes up to $1.5 billion. So there's some huge leverage for gold on these projects. So we're pretty jazzed about it, and really have the technical report and the analysis that we need to go forward for that next step at North Bullfrog, which is really move into that permitting.
Yeah. So, so a couple of my takeaways this morning when I was reading the news and putting it out on the news briefing, I looked at the Motherlode project, and, things look just fine. I keep on reminding myself that you have found ounces deeper. You continue to drill. There are some of those narrow strips within your claims that you continue to hit. And plus, there are other companies, major companies surrounding Motherlode that are also drilling. That's really maybe, more forward, future look type of project in my mind. But Jeff, the North Bullfrog PEA, I about fell back in my chair a little bit. You used a base case of $1,500 gold. It has an IRR of 47%, but using $1,900 gold, which is closer to where we're at, that internal rate of return is 70% post-tax.
Yeah.
Just remarkable.
Yeah, and one thing we need to keep in mind is, as we've talked before, you and I, Corvus is surrounded by four producers basically on their land package, and all of these producers have large tax loss carry forwards. So, looking at that cash flow number is probably more applicable to value when you think about companies like Anglo Gold that have a $300 million tax loss forward than the after-tax number. So, this project really shines as something, yeah, let's get it going. As we know, as districts have developed, in my history of, 40 years in this business, it's usually the first mover in a district that leads consolidation. And that really means the guy with the first mine, the guy with the first cash flow out of the area, the guy that's hired all the people. And so that's what North Bullfrog brings to the Corvus story. And I think it brings to the story of ultimate district consolidation that having that first mover position is valuable.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that's those majors surrounding you are taking a look at this real closely and maybe looking back at their own projects, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this? I know you put out a PEA with both projects a few years back, and so there's a reason why you separated these out. But have either of those majors in the area put out a PEA on their respective properties?
Well, no, there's no, I would say, reliable resource on any of those projects. The original resource that was done on the Northern Empire project, which Coeur bought Northern Empire, remember, was inferred resources, and it was just a resource statement. There wasn't an economic filter put on that. So Corvus represents the only really truly defined ounces in a mine plan out in this district. Now, groups like Anglo and groups like Kinross and even Coeur may very well have an internal idea of what they have at, say, Silicon or Seahorse or any of these things, but it's not public. So, as we've talked in the past, there's Corvus, and we're about it. Now, the other little junior that was out there in the district, Bullfrog Gold, was recently sort of, you could envision it as a takeover where Augusta Capital, Richard Warwick's group, and Barrick have basically taken over that company. So that's not really one of the little juniors anymore. That's a much bigger company, and certainly with Augusta Capital's horsepower behind them, those guys are in my opinion, the real deal out there. They actually have a vision of the district. So that really represents three guys that could consolidate. And, I think, maybe four if you include Kinross, who've got these bits of ground on the outside of the district. So yeah, there isn't anything else out there but what Corvus is putting out. But, I think there's you can take a lot out of what Corvus has done as far as costs and productivity and margins and those kind of things, and sort of equate it to whatever somebody else might have out there. And some of them might be even better, when you think about some of the rumors that have come out of Silicon. So,
well, there is something to be kind of have the first mover's advantage here, I would say, and I think it's pretty eye-opening, especially with that North Bullfrog. You mentioned, and I want to push you on this a little bit. You said, you want to build this thing, you want to develop North Bullfrog from this PEA, and again, some people, you take a PEA with a grain of salt, but you got to do a PFS on that to give us an update on where you're at with PFS and what other type of conversations do you have about funding that $167 million to get this thing going.
Yeah, well, the good news about North Bullfrog is we've done it at a what we call a pre-feas level internally. Now, we put it out as a PEA just because it allows us to bring in some of the inferred ounces. There isn't a lot of those, but it did allow us to do that. And so, but it's at a pretty high level of understanding now. And we're diligently working on what's called a plan of operations, which is the actual detailed mining plan that we'll submit to the permitting agencies. And that work is going on now over the next couple months, and we'll start that permitting process this year. So that project is well along, I think. Certainly, as far as funding goes, I mean, we have a much more doable capex on this project. There's money available in the debt market right now. There's money available on equity financing. I do believe there's a way to develop it. And that financing hurdle is not insurmountable by us, and I think it's actually very doable. Now, as far as getting Jeff Pontius to build a mine, that's a little more difficult situation, I think. But we're very fortunate in Corvus that our chairman, Ron Largent, is the ex-chief operating officer for AngloGold Ashanti. Ron, over his career, has built many mines, has operated many mines. Ron is really kind of our lead guy on North Bullfrog and very convinced we can do this. And he would take a very active role in going forward on development of that project because he's done it before. It's not complicated for him. And so I think we've got the horsepower to actually do it. And, next step for us, we got to get this project in a position where we submit the permit. We got to get the permit process going on. That's going to take us a while to get done, probably 24 months or so. And then we got to, then we'll need the capital, then we build. And, I think that's a great path forward for Corvus. And we'll see if we get there. But if we do, we've got the right guy to build and operate, and that's Ron Largent.
Would you be surprised if any one of those majors that's in the area might come on board with some sort of partnership or joint venture in funding that thing?
Yeah, certainly we've talked to a number of groups, and not just the groups there in the district, but others that have, pitched that idea to us, more of a Gold Roads type model that for that company in Australia. And certainly there's some aspects of that are interesting to us. I think right now, let's see where we go with this market we're in. This looks like a very strong, good gold market that's going to last for several years. And I think there'll be some other options going forward for Corvus Gold. And, we'll have to evaluate that and see how that looks. But, I'm not so sure that's the best path forward for us. I also think that Motherlode is going to be the target of some sort of consolidation in that part of the district, and that could, on its own be its own company. And so Corvus did these two PEAs so that we'd have two separate technical reports with their own capital, their own infrastructure. And that if we chose in the future in a strong gold environment, we might be able to double the share position of our shareholders and spin one out, dividend the shares of that out to our shareholders, and create much more liquidity for our shareholders and value in a strong gold market. So we want to be prepared for all things, I think, going forward. Sure. And this structure of getting the two PEAs out helps us with that.
Let me ask you, the market response down a little bit, about 2.5% today on the ticker. So it's got to ask, what are some of the concerns or maybe harder questions that some big shareholders or investors are asking you about the project today after these reports?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, every time you see PEAs come out, usually the share price goes down. It's not one of those key pieces of news that that investors embrace because they're somewhat complex and that now we have a much better feel on costs. The one drawback I would say associated with the Motherlode project, that has to carry all of that capital. And that's a pretty steep capital number of $400 million. And so, what do we do to make that better? We add more ounces. And we've got a great place to do that. We're drilling it right now in our CIZ area. And the Linda Strip, we'll have a resource out on that by probably the end of first quarter next year. And I'll tell you, the drilling in there, we don't have any results back yet, but the drilling looks quite good. And so I think Motherlode will definitely be able to make better use of that $400 million of capital with a lot more ounces coming in the future mine plans.
And you are doing some drilling currently now at North Bullfrog as well to increase the resource. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, we haven't. We pulled that drill back to drill at Linda Strip right now, but we will be back there. And we've had some interesting results come out with expanding the resource at what we call our Mayflower pit, as well as a new target we've been drilling called Cat Hill. That's something where we're trying to pursue what we think might be a vein system out there that would be able to extend the mill life of North Bullfrog. Right now, North Bullfrog has the high-grade vein system that we mine out in about a 7-year mine life. And then we've got another basically 5 or 6 years of heap leaching from the large low-grade system we have there. So what can we do to make that project significantly better? More mill feed of that high-grade vein system. So we're looking at opportunities to expand the current system, which we call Yellow Jacket, and also looking at these potential new discovery areas. Those things could have a dramatic impact on a project that's already compelling. So, that's where we'll be back and doing some more exploration for sure.
All right, Jeff. Well, it's going to be an exciting fall for Corvus, and this is just a really good first step for both Motherlode and North Bullfrog. So congratulations. I look forward to having you back here in the future to give us some more updates on the news that's about to ready to come out.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. We're real happy with being able to get these studies out and having a lot of data now in the public sector.
That's Jeff Pontius. He is the CEO of Corvus Gold, trades on the TSX with KOR and also on the NASDAQ with KOR. Corvus Gold is a sponsor of Mining Stock Daily, and I am a shareholder. That's going to wrap things up for today. We will be back tomorrow morning with the news briefing, everybody. Until then, have a wonderful afternoon and be well.